Kia Studios.
Oh, what a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Hump Day Wednesday edition of Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM. And yes, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Glad to have you guys back on board the show today. No Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, Eagles, none of the local teams tonight. But we still got to talk about them in the next hour. Don't forget, it's a Weinberg Wednesday. Dave Weinberg will join us coming up in less than 20 minutes from now, around 6:20. We'll talk with Dave about the Eagles and the Giants. As always, you could join the conversation at 609-403-0973. You also can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Before we get to the latest Eagles injury report news, I have to touch on the Sixers and Flyers from last night, because last night was one of those few opportunities where you got a true doubleheader from the teams. You know, the Flyers game was done about 30 minutes before the Sixers game. So, for me, it was a night where I was able to consume three different, sports products. You got the Flyers winning against the Ducks, you got the Sixers winning against the Clippers on TNT, and then also you had the Kansas versus Kansas State game that I was consuming as well. And I didn't realize that the Sixers are 16-4 in their last 20 games. I got to ask you guys a question. If I would have told you that both the 76ers and Philadelphia Flyers are playing absolutely smoldering hot, you'd probably think I was lying to you. Because here's the problem. When perception becomes reality, people lose sense of what reality is anymore. The truth is that the Philadelphia Flyers have themselves been on a scorcher. Last night, they won their 8th of 10 games. And the Sixers have won 16 of their 20 games. Meanwhile, the Eagles have been sitting at home last week, and then this week they're back in the building getting ready for the Giants. And both teams, the Sixers and the Flyers, are winning for a similar reason and a very different reason. The Flyers, outside their 2 losses, have played excellent team hockey from beginning to end. They have been utterly impressive in the way they have handled their business. And I think they have gotten a tremendous boost with the fact that, they have been fortunate that during this streak, that when Carter Hart doesn't play, Samuel Ersson goes out there and plays just as well as Carter Hart can. Ersson is 5-0 this year in the goal for the Flyers. He's arguably turning himself into one of the best backup goaltenders in all of hockey. So I think that it's very interesting that the Flyers are sitting where they are right now, which is a hot hockey team. Now, I'm not going to act like they're going to go to the postseason this year. They're not in the same category as the Sixers. Sixers have Embiid and Harden and Maxey. That's arguably, 3 of the top 30, 40 players in the entire NBA on your roster. The Flyers have one of the 5 best goaltenders, and that's it. Listen, I am a huge Travis Konechny fan, but that dude is not a top 20 player in the NHL. I am not going to play around with that. And the Flyers, they have a couple more games coming up against what you might consider easy competition. The Chicago Blackhawks are a team that is down this year. That's tomorrow night. You hear the game on our sister station, Rock 104.1, on the Rock 104.1 app. The Red Wings are only 1 game above 500 themselves. It's not until after those 2 games where the schedule really gets testy. Winnipeg, Kings, Minnesota Wild, Winnipeg again, Islanders, Oilers, Predators, Kraken, who are smoldering hot as well on a back-to-backer. So the schedule does get a little more difficult. It does get a little more complicated down the stretch. But it's good to see the Flyers are fighting for their coach. I'm sure Chuck Fletcher is somewhere trying to take credit for this. I think his team is winning despite him being an imbecile. Now, on the flip side, the Sixers in many ways are executing based on the model of their man in charge, Daryl Morey, the president of basketball operations, because Morey had a vision for this roster, and you just started seeing it in the last few weeks. Unlike Chuck Fletcher, who is trying to sell you wolf tickets and trying to convince you that there is no horse manure out behind the barn, Daryl Morey sold you a great car, and that car at one point had to go into the shop. There were injuries this year, and you started to feel a little down about the car. You started feeling a little down about the product you were sold. And we all were. It wasn't just you listening to my voice on 97.3 ESPN FM or on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, which is free thanks to First Bank of Seattle. We all were. All of us were in a situation where we looked at what the Sixers were doing. We're wondering, Morey might have had a misstep here or there. The team is now playing like the team I think that they envisioned, and it really started with Doc Rivers being flexible. Kendrick Perkins made a very interesting point today. If you were listening to the Sports Bash earlier, the audio we got was from NBA Today on ESPN television. And Perk made a very interesting point. Kendrick Perkins, former Boston Celtics center, won an NBA championship with Boston, now an analyst for ESPN television covering the NBA.
The Philadelphia 76ers, right? The best thing that happened for them, I ain't going to say the best thing. It was a blessing in disguise when they had injuries this season, because James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, and Joel Embiid got an opportunity to sit on the side and watch what others are capable of bringing to the table. We watched Tobias Harris' confidence go up. We watched Doc find Melton, who he has inserted into the starting lineup. We already know what P.J. Tucker is going to bring to the table, not having to shoot one shot, but impacting the game of basketball. And so now you have all these guys starting to find themselves. Yeah. And when you get hurt and your team is having success and you come back, you're like, nah, I could trust these guys. I could trust Niang to come off the bench and knock down threes and give us that high energy. Montrezl Harrell to play some minutes when Joel Embiid need rest.
It's an excellent point by Perk, in my opinion, because as someone who played in the league, he's saying, look, sometimes guys need to see what their teammates can do. And I think there's a powerful thing in knowing that you can trust the guys on your team. And I think because everyone is, knows their role and is playing their role, it has helped Joel Embiid play at a dominant level during this 16-4 stretch for the 76ers. And the biggest part of the game last night was not just Embiid's 41 points, not just that he was dominant, but that James Harden, despite him not having a great shooting night, he was still an impactful player in the game. He still had 9 assists. He didn't commit a bunch of personal fouls. He had a steal. He had a block. He was going out there and still being a viable player for this team. And he said, look, I'm not shooting well tonight. I'm 0 for 4 from 3. But guess what? PJ Tucker hit 2 threes. Tobias Harris hit 2 threes. Embiid hit 2 threes. Niang was 3 for 4 from 3. Maxey was 3 for 5. Harden played like an adult. And I think that's the biggest thing I took away from the game last night. It was amazing to see both the Flyers and the Sixers execute at a high level. And when teams execute at a high level, you're more likely to get wins than losses. Which brings us to the Philadelphia Eagles as they prepare to play the New York Giants this Saturday. Of course, coverage begins at 7 p.m. with Merrill Reese and Mike Quick calling all the action right here on your home for the Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers, 97.3 ESPN. The key for the Eagles, I've been telling you guys all week, is execution. If they execute at the level they're capable of, they're going to win the game. It's as simple as that. And I understand that the injury report didn't tell us a lot overtly today, but it told us a couple things that I thought were very important. Number one, what I told you guys yesterday, and we've been talking about here on 97.3 ESPN on Sports Bash with Mike Gill on Football at 4, it's looking more and more like Maddox won't just be missing this game, but he'll miss multiple games. So we already got that confirmed. But here's the thing that stood out to me from this injury report. There is about 10 guys listed on the injury report with the designation rest. The Eagles are treating this as a regular business trip. They are treating this as another week that they got to go out there and get a win. And something the Eagles have done most of the year was rest their guys one of the days of the practice week. This is nothing new. This is nothing surprising. This is nothing out of the ordinary. But it's significant because this is what they did all season. This is the first injury report, that I have seen in a couple weeks that looked like what the Eagles did most of the year. Now, part of that was because with the injuries they were dealing with, they weren't able to go about business as usual, per se. But this is the first time they've done that. If the Eagles execute on and off the field in preparation, in practice, in tape review, coaches, players, everyone, they can win and win decisively on Saturday night. Look, the Giants are a good football team. The Giants have a lot that they could bring to the table in that game. But what the Eagles can bring to the table is we have a winning formula. We have a formula that got us to this level. We have a team that went 14-3. And no offense to the Giants, who have been very good in recent weeks. People forget they did finish 9-7-1. And a big part of them finishing 9-7-1 is because they had a very good start to the season at 6-2. They floundered after their bye week. Most teams usually get better after the bye week. The Giants got a little worse because they had the tie after the bye week. They had not one, not two, not three, but 5 losses after their bye week. Only 2 before the bye week. The Eagles don't have that kind of resume to bring to the table. That's why I say consistency and execution, they're the keys for Philadelphia this Saturday night versus the Giants. Merrill Reese, Mike Quick on the call here on 97.3 ESPN, your home for Eagles football in South Jersey. It is a Wednesday. It is game night, and that means Dave Weinberg joins us next for a Weinberg Wednesday with me, Josh Hennig, right here on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Here's a drive by Maxey. Good straight line move down the right side of the lane. Underhand scoop.
The Sixers are in Portland to face the Blazers. Tomorrow, coverage begins at 10 p.m. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey. 97.3 ESPN.
Wait, stop the countdown. It's the final days of the Kia Season of Giving Back sales event. So bring any trade to Matt Blatt Kia and drive home in a brand new Kia, even with 0 down and 0% APR financing for 36 months. Don't see your new Kia on the lot today? That does not mean you can't drive it home tomorrow. With peace of mind, Matt Blatt Kia's exclusive 4-day love it or leave it return policy. So if you have a job clearing $350 per week at Matt Blatt Kia, you are virtually approved. So why pay more when you can pay 0% 10% with 0 down.
It's gotta be a Matt Black Kia.
Rate qualifications exist with approved credit. $2,778 per thousand financed on in-stock 2023 Sorento Hybrid. Not all will qualify. Go to mattblackkianj.com for complete details or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer except for licensing, registration, and taxes. Expires 1/31/23. Matt Black Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and now on Route 37 and Tom's River.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf. Call 800-215-2418, 800-215-2418, 800-215-2418.
Let's be real. Mopping is a hassle. You have to fill the bucket, pushing a wet, heavy mop around, then cleaning the mop when you're done so it doesn't grow bacteria. A hassle on top of a hassle. Try Swiffer Wet Jet. With Swiffer Wet Jet, you start with a fresh pad and cleaning solution every time. And when you're done, you just toss the pad. Swiffer Wet Jet, the faster, easier, cleaner way to clean your floors.
Protect yourself from utility scams. South Jersey Gas will never call you to demand immediate or on-the-spot payments. We use mail, phone, and in-person communications to make sure you have advance notice of an overdue balance before disconnecting service. Stay informed and don't become a victim. Not sure it's a scam? Just call us at 1-888-766-9900 or visit southjerseygas.com/beware of scams for more information.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Tara, quote, "My doctor wanted me to do saline rinses for my allergies, but I've never been able to successfully use a neti pot. Navage uses suction power, so it's foolproof. There are nights when I'll have particularly bothersome allergies. I'll bust it out, and the results are immediate. It's such a relief. It's become a lifesaver," unquote. She's one of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
Save now on appliances and more at the Truckload event at Lowe's. Get deals on select major appliances and take home what you buy same day. And save an additional 10% on all in-store clearance appliances. Plus, get store-wide savings on even more items. Stock up on GE Sync Reveal 60-watt dimmable smart LED light bulbs for just $9.98 each. Head to your local Lowe's store or visit Lowes.com to shop the Truckload event today. Exclusions apply. While supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowes.com for details. Valid 1/12 to 1/18.
Hi, Merrill Reese from Mike's Seafood Run Walk for Autism in Sea Isle City. The Mike's Seafood Run Walk for Autism has been promoting awareness and raising funds for special service schools and families of special needs children. Come join over 5,000 participants in the 5K race and the Family Fun Walk, followed by a huge after party. Join us in huge heated tents where they'll have great food, unbelievable door prizes, and the award ceremony. The party is not just for runners and walkers, it's for the entire family. They'll have clowns, superheroes, and face painters for the kids. For more information or to register, go to polarbearrunwalkforautism.com.
Mike's Seafood Run Walk for Autism is Saturday, February 18th at JFK and the Boardwalk in Sea Isle City. Registration is from 9:30 to 11:30. Run Walk starts at noon.
Any day you can do something for children with disabilities, it's a good day.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Game Night being brought to you by Jenkins & Sons. One call does it all. No need to call the drain guy, the heater guy, the plumbing guy, because Jenkins offers quality service and reliability you get from a 3-generation family-run company for plumbing, drain cleaning, and leak repairs, gas furnace, boiler, or hot water replacement. Call Jenkins. 609-641-6440. and you can visit them online at jenkinsandsons.com. Eagles-Giants round 3 this Saturday night, and someone who has seen plenty of Eagles-Giants games during his years covering the Philadelphia Eagles is Dave Weinberg, who's back for another edition of Weinberg Wednesday here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Dave, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Josh. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. So how do you feel about this deja vu matchup this Saturday?
It should be a great game. I mean, I know that if the Eagles play up to their potential, they should win it rather easily. But I don't know, just being like an NFC East rivalry, playing this team for the third time. Giants look pretty good, beating the Vikings, obviously. I kind of have a feeling this is going to be like a much closer game than what people think.
We know Jalen Hurts has not been listed on the injury report this week at all, Dave. So how encouraged are you by that?
Well, you knew he was going to play, so I guess there really was no reason to list him. It's just, I personally, questionable aside, I have questions about how healthy he really is. I mean, I don't know that an 80% Jalen is going to be good. And he's obviously got to be close, healthier than he was for the regular season finale. If they want the offense to execute the way it's supposed to, I mean, they can't run the same plays without any, run pass options or RPOs, what have you. I mean, Jalen has to be able to run the offense the way he usually runs it for them to really have a chance at going, far in the playoffs.
We know that the offense is very dependent on him, but the offense is also in ways dependent on Lane Johnson.
Absolutely.
He is listed on the injury report, that torn adductor that he is not getting surgery on. How concerned are you about his availability for this Saturday? And do you think that they should be cautious with Lane and maybe say, hey, if you're not really ready to go, let's hold you out for one more week?
That's a tough call. I mean, again, talking about percentages of health, I mean, I think a 75% Lane Johnson is better than 100% Jack Driscoll.
Okay.
I think if he's going to play, then play. I mean, if he wants to play, then play. But that's a big concern. I mean, how long does he last before that, flares up again or causes him so much discomfort that he can't just continue and has to leave the game in the first quarter or second quarter, what have you. I mean, if that could be a real problem for the Eagles. I mean, they have to have Lane Johnson for 4 quarters in order to maximize, their offense the way they're supposed to.
What do you think is going to be the bigger matchup in this game? Is it going to be Steichen versus Martindale or Gannon versus Kafka?
Boy. That's a good one, Josh. I'm going to say Eagles offense against Giants defense. I mean, if the Giants can find a way to slow down Jalen Hurts and company, if they can contain the running game, which they weren't able to do when they went at full strength the last time, I think that's going to be the key for the Giants to have a chance. They have to find a way to contain the Eagles and obviously hold them under 48 points, but hold them to maybe under 24. If they can do that, then I think the Giants have a shot. So yeah, I think it's a big challenge for the Giants defense more than anything.
Because to me, I understand your other people's concerns about Hurts, but my bigger concern is how does Steichen, the play caller, handle Martindale? And Martindale's been coaching in the NFL longer than anyone except for Jeff Stoutland on the Eagles staff. So,
right.
You're talking about a guy in Steichen who, as we saw with the Chargers this week, they're a dumpster fire. So you can't hold anything Steichen did with the Chargers against him, right?
True.
I mean, for goodness sake, just give me 10 seconds here. I've said it already this week, Dave. They had a top 5 passing offense, the Chargers, the last 2 years. Top 5.
Mm-hmm.
They fired the offense coordinator and the passing game coach. The defense is a bottom 10 defense, and Brandon Staley is a former defensive coordinator. But let's fire the offensive coordinator because that's how we scapegoat in the NFL, right?
Yeah, really. I mean, the offense didn't give up, didn't blow a 27-0 lead. You know, it was all on the Chargers defense. You're right there. Yeah, I don't know what the heck's going on with the LA Chargers. I just don't. Yeah, I've given up trying to figure out anything that they try to do at this point. Yeah, I don't know that I would have fired Staley, but I think I would have fired someone on the defense too, or in the defensive staff to make a point of firing like you said, the offensive coordinator or the quarterback's coach, or whatever it was. That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, for goodness sake, the Rams released half of their coaching staff today, and a big part of it was their offensive line coach and the D line coach, and it's well, at least I can comprehend that. But back to the Eagles Giants situation.
Sure.
I'm curious to see how Steichen handles Martindale and vice versa, because you're talking about a guy in Martindale who for the first time all year didn't blitz heavy in the Vikings win.
Right. I heard you that's 20% or something like that, right?
Yeah, which is the lowest he's done, I think, in his career, some people actually said, according to the analytics people. So, if you have a guy in Martindale who's willing to be flexible, it makes you wonder, all right, how does Steichen counterpoint? It's like playing chess. Someone puts the pawn out. Are you putting the pawn out too, or are you doing something else?
Right. It's always a chess game there. I mean, week to week, everybody's trying to devise a new wrinkle to their attack or their defense that no one's seen before. Throwing a curveball when you're expecting fastballs. It's a really interesting, maybe under talked about aspect of the game, the chess match that goes on beyond, between coordinators and coaching staffs. And yeah, you're right. I mean, what does Martindale do? Does he go back to his roots and fire blitzes on every play, or does he play more conservative? You assume he's going to have a spy on Jalen. I don't know who that would be, but someone that follows his every move. I think, like we were talking about just a minute ago, Lane Johnson's status has a lot to do with that. I think if Lane's clearly struggling or isn't able to play a whole lot, then I think Martindale adjusts his defense accordingly.
If the Eagles win on Saturday night, Dave, what happened?
What happened or what happens?
So if the Eagles win on Saturday night, what are we talking about the next day?
Talking about how they're going to lose to the 49ers. Yeah, my wife calls me a hater all the time.
Oh my goodness.
You're probably going to talk about how Jalen Hurts is back, how he is fully recovered from the shoulder injury that hampered him or forced them to rest him, and how the Eagles are back to being recognized as one of the top teams in the NFL, which they've kind of fallen off the pedestal a little bit in the last month or so, but maybe like a statement win puts them back into the conversation as true Super Bowl contenders. Sorry, it just
you couldn't help yourself.
Yeah, I know.
Dave Weinberg joining us for a Weinberg Wednesday here on GameNight on 97.3 ESPN. Check out all of his columns over at 97.3 ESPN.com. Of course, you can follow him on Twitter at Dave Weinberg 19. Before we move on for the Eagles, one more for you, Dave.
Sure.
Your position on Nick Sirianni saying that they ate Pizza Hut while watching the Giants.
That's disgraceful. It's like saying you're going to McDonald's when you got, a top shelf burger place down the street. It just, that makes no sense. I mean, as people have pointed out, you got some of the best pizza places in the country in Philadelphia. Why not just order from one of those, That's terrible.
Well, Sirianni's explanation was he really wanted stuffed crust pizza. That was his explanation.
Okay.
I actually had somebody. Let me I want to read. I'm not going to say on the radio who said this, because if they want to come on the radio and say it themselves, they will. But I'm literally going to read you what somebody texted me a little bit earlier.
Okay.
Ready, Dave? They said the people who eat stuffed crust pizza are the same people who put barbecue sauce on a perfectly juicy and tender steak.
Yeah, that's true. They're that's blasphemy. It really is. Although I will tell you, my wife always puts A1 on, even if we're at I don't know, Ruth Chris or Old Homestead. She'll ask that, and it makes me cringe when she does it. But I have to have steak sauce. I have to have A1. I have to. I'm like, oh, please, just enjoy the steak. It's $100 where you just enjoy the steak.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in enjoying good food and not adulterating it, but that's just me. So
yeah, I'm with you. Yep.
Let's go to the former Eagles head coach, who I guarantee you wouldn't order Pizza Hut. Doug Peterson gets the win in Jacksonville, one of the third largest comeback in NFL postseason history. And I got to tell you, Dave, I'm watching that game, and it's not looking good. And I only can wonder what Doug said at halftime, because Doug's a unique individual. He understands both worlds of football better than almost anybody, as being a player, being a quarterback, and being a backup, and working his way up the coaching ranks.
Yeah, I mean, he knows the game inside and out, and I can guarantee you, he didn't throw anything. He didn't yell at anybody. I'm sure, relatively confident. He just told them, just stay the course, just focus on what we've been doing, one play at a time, one drive at a time. Don't worry. I even tweeted at halftime that I know 27-7 looks like it's a big deficit, but it's not insurmountable. You just take it like, next thing you know is 27-14, and then goes from there. The Chargers start to panic a little bit, and that's exactly what happened. It was so exciting to watch the way that they just kept fighting, kept battling, and then next thing you know, they're winning a playoff game.
Trevor Lawrence in the first half of that game had 1 touchdown and 4 interceptions.
Yeah,
in the second half, he had 3 touchdowns, and he went from averaging 3 yards a pass attempt to 9 yards a pass attempt. Whatever Doug Peterson said in his ear, can we bottle it and share it with other people to help make their lives better? My goodness.
Yeah. It's a big deal to have a quarterback and a coach who trust each other, who rely upon each other, to know that the coach has your back, and whether you're struggling or whatever, then the Peterson and Lawrence are going to forever be tied together as the duo that is going to lead Jacksonville's resurgence. And yeah, I mean, I'm absolutely sure that Doug got in his ear and said, like I said he probably said to the whole team, don't worry about it, shake it off. It's just like a starting pitcher who gives up a home run. Okay, you did, but it's one batter. Now focus on the next one. Or a golfer who bogeys a hole. Okay, that's one hole. Shake it off. Get on to the next one. It's you have to have a really short memory in professional sports, and I'm sure that's what he stressed on.
Someone mentioned before that Doug Peterson made Carson Wentz look like an MVP candidate. What can he do with Trevor Lawrence? And you could argue Trevor Lawrence is a more talented quarterback than Carson Wentz is. So it almost does make you wonder, if Doug Peterson can make Lawrence make that kind of turn in one half. I mean, what is Trevor Lawrence going to look like next year under Doug Peterson?
Yeah, I mean, he's really good at reading people, at reading, especially quarterbacks. Though, being the quarterback himself in the NFL, he understands what it takes to play the position, understands how to handle yourself both on and off the field. Really gets into the ins and outs of the position, and the fact that he's doing that with Trevor now. I mean, you can see the difference from last year to this year, obviously, but even from game to game, almost just the way that his confidence seems to be growing, like every time he's out there. It's really amazing to see.
And of course, we get a full Eagles Saturday. It's not just the Eagles-Giants game on Saturday night.
Yeah.
It's Doug versus Andy, the last 2 head coaches to lead the franchise to Super Bowls. Doug won it, Andy did it, and now they get to go head-to-head in the playoffs. I mean, you can't draw it up better than that, right?
Yeah, it's really cool. And I know everybody thinks the Chiefs are just going to roll them, that Jacksonville's season's over. But just remember that Doug knows Andy as well as anyone. He played for him. He coached with him. Now he's coaching against him. He knows how Andy thinks and knows what he probably has a good idea of what Andy's going to do on Saturday. So I wouldn't be surprised if that game's a lot. Again, I think that game will be a lot closer than what people think. I don't know what is the spread,
If you give me a minute, I can pull it up here. So.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm just curious.
Yeah, I know that if I remember correctly, I think it's the largest spread of the weekend. If I remember correctly.
Well, yeah, you can understand that, I guess.
8.5. It's 8.5.
Okay. Yeah, I think Jaguars cover that.
I mean, I don't think it's the worst bet. I mean, listen, I've been riding Jacksonville for about a month now.
Same here.
I didn't bail on my money line ticket from the weekend. You know, I held on to it in the second half and it paid off. So,
Right.
you know,
Not like unlike the guy who bet the 1.4 million at halftime, right? I don't know if that was really true or not, but it makes for a good story, I
apparently
guess.
it is. And you know what? Anybody who has that kind of money to throw away should be ashamed of themselves.
If you're doing, just out of curiosity, I mean, I'm no expert bettor by any means, but if you're going to make a bet, why don't you just bet the other way? Why don't you bet like 10 grand that they're going to come back?
Dave, if you got $1 million to throw away, why don't you bet $500,000 on the one side, $500,000 on the other side, and see what happens?
Good point too. Yep. That is definitely a good point. Yeah, I didn't think of that, but yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, that's probably why I don't have a lot of money, is because of the fact that I'm too responsible with it.
Right. You work too hard for it. That's true.
Dave, before I let you go, I'd be remiss if we didn't bring up the sad news of the day, though. South Jersey basketball legend
Chris Ford
passes away. A lot of people didn't see it coming. A lot of people have been saying, hey, we just saw him a couple weeks ago out and about. Just a very sudden passing of a guy who, South Jersey legend, the first guy to hit a 3-pointer in an NBA game, the guy who won an NBA championship, just an all-around accomplished basketball man.
Yeah, I just tweeted a few minutes ago that I would make the argument that he was probably the greatest high school basketball player ever in our area. I mean, you know the amount of talent that's come through here, but I don't know that anyone was as good as Chris Ford as he was at Holy Spirit back in the early 70s or whatever, late 60s. I know some people that played with him, that played against him, and Chris was just unstoppable. I mean, he could do whatever he wanted, and no one could contain him. And he did the same thing in Villanova and with the NBA to a degree, and was a fantastic coach, but more importantly, just a fantastic person too. It's really a shame.
One of my favorite things I ever remember was it was in one of the first times I was like the first years I was calling high school basketball games, and we were at Holy Spirit for one of their like tournament weekends, right?
Okay. Yep.
And Ford Sr. was out there, and his son was there because Atlantic City was playing somebody else there. So he was there to see his son and to go back to his alma mater. Well, he starts challenging random people to free throw shooting contests. And for those who don't know, Chris Ford Sr. was a savant as a free throw shooter. Yep. And he's just like wiping the floor with these like, schmucky kids who think they're all talented, And Chris Ford was such a fundamental savant of the game of basketball that he's out there, in, slacks and dress shoes and the whole 9 yards, and just like bang, 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 every shot going down. And these kids are like, who is this guy?
Right. They probably have never heard of him, but they know him now. That's for sure.
Right. This was like 2011, I think it was. And
wow. Okay.
I remember because it was at halftime of the game. And I just remember because the next team was coming out to warm up. Mm-hmm. And, some of the kids were missing free throws. And he just went out there and started challenging them. It was like, you got to make your free throws. And the kids were like, well, you make your free throws. And he just,
wow.
10 in a row, 11, 12. Like he just kept going. And he's like, I remember he turned to the white kid and said, tell me when to stop. It was just such a cool little moment.
That is really cool. And plus, he was probably in his 60s at the time, too. So that makes it even more impressive.
Yeah. So it's just everything. People don't realize how talented he was. And he was also just a great human being as well. So it's very sad just to see that his passing. And like you said, you could make the argument that he may be the greatest basketball player in South Jersey history.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. It's been a tough couple of weeks for the local basketball community. You lost Bob Hutchings, a couple of weeks ago, and now Chris. It's really a tough time for basketball people.
So, but I'd be remiss if I didn't bring that up again. Thoughts and prayers.
No, I appreciate you doing that. Yep.
The Ford family. Like I said, Chris Ford Sr. was a staple of the area and just a legend of a player and a human being.
Sure.
Dave Weinberg, Weinberg Wednesdays each week here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN at Dave Weinberg, 19 extra point columns over at 97.3 ESPN.com. Dave, always appreciate you jumping on. Enjoy the football this weekend, and we'll talk soon.
You too, Josh. Thanks for having me as always. I appreciate it. Talk to you next week.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night, hanging out with you guys here on 97.3 ESPN. Get your texts on the other side, 609-403 0973 is the text word. Also, you can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Joey D and Ben will get to your message and others next here on the Power Hour. Game Night, 97.3 ESPN.
This is the radio home for Eagles playoff football. The Eagles host the New York Giants in the divisional round of the NFC playoffs Saturday night.
The Boston Scott who runs in, standing up, untouched.
This offensive line just blow the Giants off the football.
Free-game coverage starts at 7 p.m. with Merrill Reese and Mike Quick calling all the action starting at 8:15. This is where the Philadelphia Eagles play. 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's official Eagles station.
May old car problems be forgot in a brand new SUV.
Stop! You can't start the new year in an old car. Looking for some holiday cash? Then don't miss Matt Platt Nissan's Holiday Vehicle Buyback. It doesn't matter what you drive. AJ, the trade man, wants to buy your vehicle today. Regardless of the make, miles, condition, or situation, AJ will buy your ride for cash today. So treat yourself to a brand new Nissan Rogue. 0 down, 0 payments, 0 interest on every new Matt Platt Nissan Rogue.
It's on at Matt Platt Nissan.
Drive away with peace of mind because only Matt Platt Nissan has a 4-day love it or leave it return policy. MattPlattNissan.com. Requalifications exist with approved credit. $27.78 per thousand financed on in-stock 2023 Nissan Rogues. Not all will qualify. Go to MattPlattNissan.com for complete details or call 844-917-4758. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer except for licensing, registration, and taxes. Expires 1/31/23. It's on at Matt Platt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike. Egg Harbor Township.
At Staples, you can count on every project being print perfect, guaranteed.
I need presentations and brochures printed, and they have to be perfect.
Your bounded presentations, brochures with the finest folds, and more will be done right every time. That's our Print Big promise. Now at Staples, get $10 off your document printing and marketing materials order of $50 or more, plus 20% back via store bonus. Try Staples and see the difference. Ends 2/11. Rewards members only. Bonus must be redeemed in store. See staples.com/stores/printbig for details.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Come join us for some new tasty seasonal favorites. Try our handcrafted garlic truffle burger, topped with garlicky truffled mushrooms, arugula, and truffle aioli. Or enjoy our unique spicy Thai peanut wings, classic or boneless. And pair any of our seasonal menu items with a specialty cocktail, like the chocolate raspberry martini or our cranberry margarita. And don't forget our world-famous crab fries, Chickies and Pete's. Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Our seasonal menu items are now available at all Chicky and Pete's locations. Enjoy our pork belly tacos or share a plate of South Philly crab fries featuring our world-famous crab fries and cheese sauce, topped with porchetta-style pork belly, fried onion, and shaved provolone. Don't miss our specialty cocktails like the stateside mint chocotini or our cranberry margarita. Details at chickiesandpete's.com. Chickies and Pete's.
I never write reviews, but Navage is so amazing, I had to leave one. Nothing's ever cleared out my sinuses as well. I'm blown away by how Navage works. That's a review from Carrie, and it's one of over 100,000 online testimonials praising Navage. I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I've talked about flushing out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, how Navage's powered suction can help you breathe better, and how your nose is the body's air filter, and Navage will clean it out. But don't take my word for it. What do people like Chad say, who wrote, Navage has helped clear out my nasal passages every single night. My wife says my snoring has gone way down. Snorefest be gone, unquote. Navage is the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million customers to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage, Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
Every small business owner knows business can happen anytime, anywhere. The office, the warehouse, or on the road. And no matter where it takes you, there's one solution to help your business thrive. Comcast Business Complete Connectivity. It's the largest, fastest, reliable network with advanced gig speed Wi-Fi and cyber threat protection in one solution. Get started with internet for just $49 a month. Plus, add Comcast Business Mobile and you can save up to 60% a year on your wireless bill. And ask how to get up to $1,000 in prepaid cards.
Flight 291 is now boarding.
Yep, you're going places. And when you get there, be ready to do business. The complete connectivity solution from the company that powers more small businesses than any other provider. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 2/21/2023. Restrictions apply. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. New 50 megabits per second internet. Customers only. Equipment taxes and fees extra. After 12 months, regular rates apply. Gig internet required for gig Wi-Fi. Mobile savings compares pricing of top 3 carriers.
By now, you know that sound. It's the sound of the Home Depot. But what about that sound? You're listening to a set of GE appliances, complete with all you need to keep food fresh, dishes clean, and everything else stress-free. Making this the sound of savings on top brand appliances. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. Get up to 25% off select GE appliances right now. Offer valid January 5th through January 25th, 2023. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
Why would someone looking for a mortgage at the Jersey Shore take a loan from a company in Detroit or North Carolina or some other far-off place? Online mortgages promise a lot, but don't always deliver. First Bank of Sea Isle City knows the Jersey Shore. We are local lenders. We use local appraisers and provide in-house processing. We understand the unique obstacles of financing in Cape May County. Don't take a chance. Local banking is better. Let us guide you. First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Game Night being brought to you, the folks over at Jenkins & Sons. Did you know that over 40 years ago, John Jenkins Sr. invented the heated seat the football players sit on? Now imagine what they can do for your home. Yes, the Jenkins family created a way for football players to weather the extreme cold on frigid game days. So find out why homeowners and visitors count on Jenkins for the quality, service, and reliability you get from a 3-generation family-run company. Plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and more. Call Jenkins at 609-641-6440 and visit them online at jenkinsandsons.com. Over on the text board, we'll get to that in just a moment at 609-403-0973. Also, you can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app. It's free, thanks to First Bank of Sea Isle. Joey D over in Ventnor chimes in over on the text board and says, without Avonte Maddox, teams are going to attack the slot. I believe the Eagles can overcome it, but it's a huge blow to the secondary. Maddox is that important as a tackling nickel corner. Go Birds. That's from Joey D and Ventnor. Joey D, here's the thing. I think the Eagles can get away with it because what they did in the last game was they played C.J. Garner-Johnson, and because C.J. has extensive experience playing in the slot, I feel like that is more than enough to cover. Now, because you're playing the Giants, and the Giants have limitations offensively, the Giants are not an elite passing offense, you can go through this game with C.J. Garner-Johnson in the slot, keep Reed Blankenship at safety, and you should be able to handle that for most of this postseason as is. I'm more concerned if Maddox is not available for next week's game if you play the team like the Cowboys or the 49ers than this game. I feel like this game, you are still good enough with Garner-Johnson as the slot corner, and then Reed Blankenship as one of the safeties next to Marcus Epps. I feel like that should be good enough for you to beat the Giants. The Giants don't have the kind of offense that is going to consistently expose what the Eagles do in their secondary. I don't think it's small thing to point out that, for as impressive of a win that the Giants had against the Vikings, it wasn't because of their passing game. It was because their defense did such a great job. And one of the things I told you guys on Monday's show and Tuesday, and I'll say it again today on Wednesday, is that we are underselling and we are under speaking about how important defense is in these postseasons. Either good defense or lack of defense. It was the lack of the Chargers defense that allowed the Jaguars to get back into that game and put Jacksonville into the second round of the playoffs. It was the Giants and Cowboys defenses that played at an elite level that catapulted them to the wins that they got. It was, to use another example, the Bills' lack of defense and numerous turnovers that allowed the Miami Dolphins, shorthanded, to have a chance to stay competitive and maybe even win that game that the Bills barely pulled off. It was the Bengals and Ravens defenses that were basically playing chess most of the game that put those teams in such a close game and gave the Ravens a chance at the end of the game to win it. So I don't think the Giants' offense has the firepower to expose without Avonte Maddox as long as Garner Johnson and Reed Blankenship are both out there. Now, if you get into a situation where somebody gets injured and let's say it's Kevon Wallace at safety, I might start getting a little concerned. If it's Josiah Scott out there with Kevon Wallace, then I'm definitely concerned. But as long as you have the personnel you have out there, I think they should be capable of handling what the Giants bring to the table. And we're going to break down what the Giants do a little bit more in the next 2 days here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Wednesday evening. But the key is that the Giants don't have some elite high-powered offense. Their best receivers are guys like Isaiah Hodgins, who was cut from the Bills team, picked up by the Giants, and they've found a way to turn him into this possession receiver. Ricky James, a guy who was supposed to be just a kick and punt return guy, has turned into an every down receiver because they need him out there. Slayton is a game, he's a big play receiver, but if you limit him and don't let him get opportunities to break free, he becomes a non-factor because he's not a physical receiver. Daniel Jones has to continue to play at a high level to win this game. He can't just be a runner. He has to be a passer. And I don't know if the Giants have the talent around Jones, aside from Saquon Barkley, to be able to make problems for the Eagles defense. Now, if the Giants go into the game and say, who cares about the passing game? We're going to run the ball with Jones and Barkley until one of them get injured, then maybe the Eagles do have a little issue, because then you're asking CJ Garner Johnson to basically be a box tackler when he's not the greatest tackler in the world. And neither is Darius Slay, right? That's where what Joey Diamantner said, having a tackling corner is important, because if the Giants decide to run the ball a ton, then it might get dicey. But even then, if you make the right adjustments, right? You say, hey, if they're going to run the ball more, do we kick CJ back to safety, put Josiah Scott in the slot, and then on the downs, they only have 2 receivers. Maybe you put Reed Blankenship or Marcus Epps in the box. There are different things you can do. I'm more concerned about the Giants' run game than anything else, because they have the talent to execute. But the Eagles, if their defense plays the way it has all year, they should be able to shut down the Giants' offense like they did in the first matchup. Don't forget Eagles, Giants this Saturday. Merrill Reese, Mike Quick on the call. Kickoff at 8:15 p.m. here on your home for the Eagles in South Jersey. 97.3 ESPN. Thanks again to Dave Weinberg for joining the show for the Weinberg Wednesday. Again, thoughts, prayers, and condolences to the Ford family on the passing of Chris Ford Sr. I'm Josh Hennig. Have a great night, everybody.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff.
All right, for the YouTube-only crowd, thank you for hanging on and watching the post-game show here on Game Night. It's a topic that kind of got me in a little trouble earlier today talking about. So I figured I would save it for the end of the show for the YouTube only audience. Guys, if you're watching on my YouTube channel, hit the like button, subscribe, share it with your friends. I appreciate you guys watching the post show. So for those who didn't hear, Nick Sirianni was asked recently about, hey, can you give us an idea of what your day was like when you were watching the Giants game with the coaching staff? And Sirianni explained that they wanted to order Pizza Hut because he really wanted a stuffed crust pizza. And I take great offense to this because I don't care. Look, some people worry about offending people, right? Some people worry about, making money and stuff like that. And I'm not here to worry about those things. I'm here to speak the truth. And the truth is that Nick Sirianni did a great disservice. One of the biggest things in this area is Eagles football. The Philadelphia Eagles are the number one entity in this region. Yeah, there are Giant fans. Yeah, there are some Cowboy fans. Yes, there are people who love the Phillies, don't care about the Eagles. People who love the Flyers don't care about the Eagles. But the majority of the populace loves the Philadelphia Eagles. And in an area that loves football that much, whenever a player or coach shows up at their business, Philly fans appreciate it forever. Like, when Cole Hamels, who doesn't even play for the Phillies anymore, but won a World Series with them, shows up at Uncle Bill's Pancake House in Ocean City, people are so happy to see him. The owners love it. The workers love it. People are so happy to see these people. When Bryce Harper shows up at a local restaurant, that's the Phillies. Lane Johnson shows up at an establishment. Nick Sirianni's walking on the boardwalk. These businesses, it means so much to them that the coaches and the players from their favorite team are at their business. They're ordering food from them. And it's a badge of honor and pride. And there's a boost of community spirit that comes with that. And Nick Sirianni, because he wanted stuffed crust pizza, had to just spit in the face of that. I don't care how good stuffed crust pizza is. And I actually don't think it's that good, honestly. To me, stuffed crust pizza basically is just pizza with cheese sticks at the end of it, in my opinion. Okay? It's a glorified cheese stick at the end of the piece of pizza. Nick Sirianni could have said, hey, I can order Pizza Hut on my own personal time. But for this day, we're going to go give our business to some local mom and pop, some small business, support our community, support our region, support the small businesses that, these people work hard for their money. And then they go to an Eagles game, and these games are expensive, right? You got to pay for parking, you got to pay for tickets, you got to pay for concessions, you got to pay for whatever else you got going on at the game. And Nick Sirianni, because he wanted stuffed crust pizza, didn't give back. I don't think he did it maliciously, but I think that Sirianni should know better. I think the Eagles should know better as an organization. And I just thought it was very disappointing that a guy like Nick Sirianni, who comes off as an everyman in so many ways, how he handles his business, how he handles himself in public, how he handles all the press conferences, for him to do the cliche corporate move and go get Pizza Hut, I thought was weak. Philadelphia, South Jersey, like Dave Weinberg said earlier in the show, have some of the best pizza places on planet Earth. And I got to tell you, if you're the person who goes to Pizza Hut or Domino's instead of the local pizza place, whether it's Kirk's Pizza in Marmora, whether it's Piero's Pizza in Wildwood, whether it's Three Brothers on the Ocean City Boardwalk, if you're going to Pizza Hut or Domino's instead of getting pizza from a local establishment that pours their blood, sweat, and tears into the product that they're offering you, then you don't really love pizza and you don't love your community. To me, it's as simple as that. And that makes me the bad guy. Well, guess what? Never see a bad guy like this again. I'm Josh Hennig. Say goodnight to the bye guy.